This is part 5 of the Great Commission and discipleship. We're still got about another 1.5 notepad left of scriptures. Turn me to 2 Timothy's. 2 Timothy 3, 16 through 17. And at first my defense to you is no one stood with me, but all forsook me. In other words, forsake me. May it not be charged against them. But the Lord stood with me and strengthened me so that the message might be preached fully through me, and that all the Gentiles might hear. And also I was delivered out of the mouth of the lion, and the Lord will deliver me from evil works and preserve me from his heavenly kingdom. To him be glory forever and ever. Amen. See, there's so much you got to do. All right, turn me to 2 Corinthians chapter 5. 2 Corinthians chapter 5. Verse 20 says this. Now then, we are ambassadors for Christ, as though God were pleading through us. We implore you on Christ's behalf, be reconciled to God. For he made him who knew no sin to be sin for us, that we might become the righteousness of God in him. And that's also a statement too that my sermon preacher said. After a while, when you disciple someone, witness to someone, after so many years, some amount of time, that person starts to talk like you, starts taking action like you. They watch what you do. They start looking more like you. And they also, and Jesus says that those that disciple one another and witnesses to one another and on and so forth is not the Jesus, but is a Jesus. He's not saying, Jesus ain't saying you are the Jesus Christ, but you are like a Jesus Christ. You're out here sharing the word, teaching the word, and preaching the word. You are to be as perfect, as close to perfect as Jesus Christ himself was. Now I'm not, but I'm trying. I have many challenges that face ahead of me. But in this life of Christ, in this life of Christianity, I'm going to tell you something. There's going to be challenges so much that people's going to hate you. You will get hurt. Your feelings will get hurt. You possibly may physically get hurt. I don't know. But you will also hurt some others, not because you want to, because you have to, because the word. You know, a lot. My aunt's like this. If I share the word with her, she hates it. She walks out the door. She don't want to hear it. Okay, but I think I've preached enough to her to have a seed in her life to grow. Now God's doing His job on her. Therefore, I'm moving on to somebody like you. And every time I preach this to people, I'm opening the door for you. and I'm letting the seed to grow. It's fun. It's Christianity is wonderful, but there's also a lot of challenges that you've got to make. Moving forward, turn me again to Matthew chapter 10, verse 37. Matthew 10, 37 through 39 says this. And he who loves a father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he who does not take the cross and follow after me is not worthy of me. He who finds his life will lose it, and he who loses his life for my sake will find it. In verse 40 says, He who receives you receives me, and he who receives me receives him who sent me. I know we talked about this not too long ago in a different sermon. So therefore, when you receive my word today, and you accept Christ in your life, you get baptized, live like you should, then you accepted the word. If you listen to these messages, that means you accepted the word. And when you accept it, you accept Jesus Christ. And when you accept Jesus Christ, you accept God Himself. Turn to me to chat. Let me just double check, make sure. Okay. Turn me to Hebrews chapter 13, verse 17. Okay. Here's what it says. Obey those who rule over you. Okay? Obey those who rule over you. And be submissive, for they watch out for your soul. And those who must give account, let them do so with joy and not with grief, for that would be unprofitable for you. Verse 16 says, Do not forget to do good and to share, for with such sacrifices God is well pleased. Verse 15 says, Therefore by him let us continually offer the sacrifice of praise to God, that is the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to his name. Verse 14 says, For here we have continuing city, but we seek the one to come. That comes scriptures from Hebrews chapter 13, verses 17 through 14. But you can go backwards. I mean, you can read the whole chapter 13 if you want to. Or that just gives you ideas. And God bless anyone who hears this message and lives by this word. For mine is to train and teach you. Turn me to John 21. John 21, verse 15 through 19. So when they have eaten breakfast, Jesus said to Simon, Simon, son of Jonah, do you love me more than these? He said, yes, Lord, I do. You know that I love you. He said, feed my lambs. Verse 16 says again, Simon, Simon, son of Jonah, do you love me? He said, yes, Lord, you know I do. Tend my sheep. 17 says, he said to him the third time, Simon, son of Jonah, do you love me? Peter answered, was grieved because he said to him the third time, do you love me? And he said to him, Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you. Jesus said to him, feed my sheep. 18 says, most sure I say unto you, when you were younger, withdrawn in yourself and walked where you wished. But when you are old, you will stretch out your hand, and another will guard you and carry you where you do not wish. You know, that's like the Lord. When you're a new creature, you walk in His ways. And we'll continue in just a few seconds.